Hi there, I'm Karen Hackenberg, and I'm here in my studio, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been up to here. This is a lot of my trash from the beach. Usually you see like little bottles or plastic things mixed in with the stuff. Some of that like popcorny looking foam, it's like washed up against the bank. It's some kind of boating gear, I imagine. And more plastic in there. And this is part of some sort of plastic bag. I take these things, stack them up, glue them together, bring them to the beach, and photograph them. I've done quite a few paintings using plastic bottles that I glue together to make other creatures. This one is Pete, the dog. P-E-T-E, like Pete Plastic. And he's starred in many of my paintings recently, kind of using commercialism to talk about the detriments of commercialism. Other things I do, I will pose items on the beach, create dialogues. For instance, I might take a cartoon character and a dinosaur in a scenario that ends up being a narrative. They all suggest an environmental or human intervention. I realize that they really resemble history paintings, celebrating all of white man's conquering of nature. There's a lot of stuff that bubbles up. It's sort of like psychological sand play on the beach. I just respond to something I see that sort of, I get this little aha, tingly quality that I find it kind of darkly humorous. And I know that there's something there, but I'm not quite sure what it is until I actually make the painting. And then the story reveals itself. Sometimes right away, sometimes years later, I see there's something going on in there that I didn't even realize, but it was there subconsciously. For a while, I had ventured into sculpture. The round part is foam that washes up on the beach. Big chunks of it wash up. Oh. Here's a buoy. And having been a model builder and used a lot of tools to make models, I decided to make these urchin-shaped and create these, what I call American sea urchins. And then all of these pointy items are the tips of bottle rockets that are set off on 4th of July. I was collecting them on the beach a lot because they're cute and they're also annoying. And they were sort of the beginning of my starting all of this work, because then I started finding the first item, the Tide bottle that I did that's in the show, which I did in gouache. And everything went from there, like one after another, finding ironic items on the beach that have turned into years worth of work. Today, what I've been working on is a painting that I started a while ago. And what I do is I mix about 5 different gradations of whatever colors I want to mix. And this painting is going to be a sort of a dusk night painting. So the colors are relatively dark. So it's as if the beach trash will be stacked up in this painting has washed in at night while we were sleeping, or when we weren't looking, which is usually the case anyway. Like this. This is like from, something bought in the meat department, that kind of weird springy foam that you get when you get fish, wrapped fish or something. I had previously put a stencil on this to block out the areas where I will paint the totem. And I do that because it helps form the composition, but it also helps me paint that sky in that really subtle, graduated way without having to brush around the objects that will be jutting up into the painting, and enables me to get that almost airbrushed look to the sky. Some of the brushes I use for that painting are these wide fan brushes, and I apply it first with just a hefty wide brush and sort of in stripes. And then I do these fan brushes where I just work back and forth and up and down to blend it. So then once I've done that, I will usually leave the stencil on the bottom of the painting, if that's the kind of composition I have, and paint around it, just not a finished painting, but underpainting for the foreground area, just to define the outsides of the totem. And then leave that, because it's starting to gel the composition of the painting, and I'll leave it and then start to remove the stencil and start painting the objects. And I have to say that's sometimes my favorite part, because it brings the humor and the color and the life into the painting. It's like when I find them, it's kind of like, oh good, another art supply. And then it's like, oh, but I'm not supposed to be excited about that, you know? Here's another piece of blue plastic. And another pink plastic in there. So some more, all sorts of styrofoam in here. There's a ton of it in here. And it, you know, breaks down in small particles. You know, when I lay on the beach after swimming and I'm looking in the sand, I find sand and then little tiny pieces of broken up plastic. Plastic is the new sand. That's what kind of got me going on this. It's like, really, these plastics are breaking down into sand-sized pieces? Oh, more blue plastic.